Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I'm Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Saturday. Thank you for joining me. Steve Kim and Virgil Walker here with me on this Saturday special edition of Fearless. Thank you for joining me. We have a great conversation. We're going to talk about Scottie Scheffler getting arrested before Friday's start of the PGA Championship at Valhalla. I want to thank you all, or welcome you all to this special Saturday edition. Go to blazetv.com/fearless and get a subscription to Blaze TV. If you use my promo code FEARLESS, you can save $20 on your yearly subscription. That's blazetv.com/fearless, promo code FEARLESS. It's very important that you do that. It's also important that you thank our sponsor, Good Ranchers. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Good Ranchers. Use my promo code FEARLESS at goodranchers.com, and with your subscription, you can claim free American Wagyu burgers for a year, a $400 value, and support veterans this Memorial Day season. Today, I want to talk about what happened Friday morning to Scott Scheffler, the number one ranked player in the world. Scott got detained, arrested by police because he didn't comply with the police, in my view. Let's listen to Jeff Darlington of ESPN explain what happened with Scott Scheffler.
Entering Valhalla Golf Club this morning, we witnessed a car pull around us that was Scottie Scheffler was in the car. To be very clear about the details here, Scottie Scheffler has been detained by police officers, placed in the back of a police vehicle in handcuffs after he tried to pull around what he believed to be security, ended up being police officers. They told him to stop. When he didn't stop, the police officer attached himself to the vehicle. Scheffler then traveled another 10 yards before stopping the car. The police officer then grabbed at his arm, attempting to pull him out of the car before Scheffler eventually opened the door, at which point the police officer pulled Scheffler out of the car, pushed him up against the car, and immediately placed him in handcuffs. Scheffler was then walked over to the police car, placed in the back in handcuffs, very stunned about what was happening, looked toward me as he was in those handcuffs and said, "Please help me." He very clearly did not know what was happening in the situation. It moved very quickly, very rapidly, very aggressively. He was detained in that police vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. The police officers at that point did not understand that Scottie Scheffler was a golfer in the tournament, nor, of course, that he is the number one player in the world.
Yeah, so let's be clear here. I don't think this would have happened to Tiger Woods, because I think the police officer would have said, "Oh, that's Tiger Woods. Tiger cut it out," and I just don't think it would have escalated to that. But I do know I have a consistent philosophy as it relates to law enforcement or whatever. It's just kill them with kindness, kill them with compliance. You comply, you virtually eliminate any chance of having a problem with police. Scottie Scheffler seemed to not comply. He's the number one player in the world. He's the biggest story in golf. He's in a car that identifies himself as a golfer. So he made some bad assumptions here that the police would understand, or whoever the security was would understand, and he didn't have to comply, and the police said stop. He thinks, again, Scottie Scheffler put out a statement, putting out his side of the story. I want to read that into the record. "This morning, I was proceeding as directed by police officers. It was a very chaotic situation, understandably so, considering the tragic accident that had occurred earlier, and there was a big misunderstanding of what I thought I was being asked to do. I never intended to disregard any of the instructions. I'm hopeful to put this aside and focus on golf today. Of course, all of us involved in the tournament express our deepest sympathies to the family of the man who passed away in the earlier accident this morning. It truly puts everything in perspective." So I like his reaction here. He's been humbled, and he's expressing a bit of humility. I'm sure he's really, really frustrated and probably would like to say a few other things, but he didn't. He composed himself and said the right things. If he had complied, though, there would be no problems. He did go on to play shortly after his arrest, and he played really well and is in contention. He's the number one golfer in the world for a reason. He wakes up this Saturday not in contention to be the leader of the PGA Tour, so the PGA Championship. So it did not affect his play. Maybe it even motivated and focused his play. Hats off to Scottie Scheffler. But my take on all of this, just comply, bro. And those of you that think like, oh, the police, when they see a white man, they just bend over backwards and roll out the red carpet. Nah, they don't. Police get frustrated. They got a frustrating job. They're on the scene of a traffic accident where someone died. There's probably police officers there that weren't expecting to be there doing any type of golf security, and that's where the misunderstanding took place. We'll bring in my main man, Steve Kim, the Korean Cosell, and we'll let Virgil chime in as well and talk a bit more about Scottie Scheffler. We'll also talk about Shannon Sharpe and what's going on with Shannon Sharpe and the community or black people. They're trying to cancel Shannon Sharpe. I think he's having too much success. And then I'll also ask Steve about the NFL Accelerator Program, this program they have to fast track black coaches to head coaching positions in the NFL. Brian Flores is going to participate in that this year. We'll do all that and a bit more next. There are a lot of companies out there working against you, your marriage or your family. You've heard about them on this show. But here's one company that is on your side. Our friends at Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes has been the number one trusted software for over 23 years for Christians seeking to live a porn-free life. I know pornography isn't an easy topic to hear about, but it must be talked about. It's a silent killer. Porn is damaging marriages, families, and impacting the work of the church by holding people hostage to this secret sin. Maybe you've experienced this in your life or seen this in the life of someone you love. Victory by Covenant Eyes is a powerful tool that helps Christians who are serious and want to quit porn for good or never start. Victory combines industry-leading technology with decades of experience and leadership in recovery content, accountability, and behavioral change. Scripture teaches us the importance of being accountable. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. James 5:16, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Once installed, the Victory app runs silently in the background of your devices and uses cutting-edge AI technology to watch the screen for behavior that doesn't match your goals. Next, you will invite a trusted friend to be your ally. This is someone that can walk beside you through the ups and downs of recovery. Your ally will get push notifications of any porn use and reminders to have accountability conversations, even if everything is going well. Living a porn-free life will bring you a new freedom to live honestly, and remember, accountability is not other people calling you out, it's other people calling on your sin, but others calling you up to the person you are in Christ. So what are you waiting for? Anyone can get started on their path to recovery for free by visiting covenanteyes.com and using my promo code FEARLESS for 30 days free, or by clicking on the link in the show notes today. Do you know how you're going to spend the first day of Pride Month? I know how I'm going to spend it. Honoring God, my Lord and Savior, fellowshipping with other men who are concerned about the direction of this country. I'm going to spend it right here in Nashville, Tennessee, leading Roll Call 2.0 alongside country music star John Rich. John and I have partnered on this annual event to inspire men to live up to their biblical responsibility of leadership. John's going to sing, I'm going to speak, so is Blaze founder Glenn Beck. We've invited basketball coaches, football players, singers, successful entrepreneurs, North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Pastor E.W. Jackson, author Vince Everett Ellison, and contributors of the Fearless Army to speak and fellowship with us. You can join us in Nashville June 1, or you can celebrate Pride Month. It's your choice. To join us, visit fearlessarmyrollcall.com and reserve your spot. If you like this show, you're going to love the merchandise we have for the show. Go to shopblazemedia.com today, and you can check out everything from the Fearless Army t-shirts, hats, and dog tags to our God, Country, and Truth Bomb shirts, and a whole lot more. And of course, there's all the other Blaze Media merchandise right there at your fingertips. Everything from Blaze Heritage and Blaze Media collections, jackets, t-shirts, hoodies, socks, mugs. There's so much there you're going to love. Go to shopblazemedia.com today. Check out my merchandise as well as everything else available from Blaze Media, and be sure to use my promo code JASON10 to get 10% off your entire order. That's shopblazemedia.com, promo code JASON10 for 10% off. Do it today.
Yeah, 모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you up here below So fly
All right, Steve, I've set this whole thing up, explained everything about what went on with Scottie Scheffler, Korean Cosell. My position is if Scottie Scheffler had just complied, he would be a free man this morning. Well, he is a free man. He's on a golf course, but I'm pretty consistent here. Just do what the cops say, and you got no problems.
If you just comply, you can keep on driving. That's it. If you can comply, you can fly. I mean, I don't know what to really say. I think it's really interesting, though. On Twitter, the usual suspects are now kind of mocking well, you should have just complied. Well, yeah, you're right. So here's the difference between us and them. We're consistent with it. I think Scott Scheffler should have shown more patience, and he had a real sense of entitlement. All he had to do was wait. Everything would have been fine. But a lot of these celebrities and athletes believe as though that they are above the law and that they have a special treatment. Now, maybe they do, but they oftentimes don't have a respect for the regular working stiff. That is the truth. And he blew this thing way out of proportion. It's really unfortunate it went this way. But I do have a question now for those people who are on the opposite end of the spectrum as us. Will you now hold that same standard to when someone else has a situation? People with actually long, lengthy criminal rap sheets or committing crimes in the process? See, because we have to have a little bit of nuance to this. Scott Scheffler deserves everything he got. He basically acted out of pocket. He was irrational, impatient. He was not respectful. But at the same time, he's not a criminal. He's not a career criminal. I look at his rap sheet. I don't think there's much going on outside of this morning. So again, same standard. Same standard. I remember when Michael Irvin was framed for some sexual assault that nearly landed him in the big house. Now, this was after the White House, and it became a big story. And it turned out this lady was lying. And I remember Michael Irvin, when he saw the media after he was cleared, he barked out, same intensity, same intensity. So again, what I am saying to these people, Clarence Hill, one of my favorites, is actually trying to compare this to Breonna Taylor. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you want to talk about an out-of-pocket, complete misrepresentation of making a comparison. All I could say to these individuals is same intensity.
Hold for a second. The Scott Scheffler deal, he compared to Breonna Taylor?
He actually said, did he get treated? I'll show you the tweet. I'll bring it over to you. We should put it up. But he actually tried to invoke Breonna Taylor. Never mind that there were guns pointed at the cops at that point. You want to talk about
Cop got shot, Steve. A cop got shot.
Right.
Her boyfriend fired first and hit a cop. Go ahead.
Yeah, you should see the replies. They're quite interesting. And to even compare those two shows you the level of intelligence or dishonesty and or both of some of these people. But again, that is our standard, Jason. See, we are honorable people. We're serious. We have the same standard. Just comply. You're right. No matter who you are, whether you're a PGA golfer, #1 in the world, or someone committing a crime or is a career criminal. Yes, just comply, please.
Well, the argument works both ways for me in terms of just comply, but also this is an example of that the police don't really care. Black, white, whatever. If you give them any static or any excuse, they will escalate things. And so there's this myth that the police, oh my God, when they see a white person, they just roll out the red carpet and they forget that they're police and white people can do whatever. And this is the #1 golfer in the world, super wealthy. He's in a car that should identify him as a golfer and, has a right to do there. But he gave the police some static and he got inconvenienced incredibly. And so cops, I like them, I respect them, I understand how difficult and their jobs are. And so I try not to give them any static because I know they're frustrated, they're confused, because I think what really happened here, Steve, and I mentioned this briefly, but what really happened here is because of the traffic accident that created a fatality, the police or more police officers who were probably not scheduled to be in that area were brought into that area by the golf course. And so they don't know what the protocol is for the golfers. They're there because there was a traffic fatality, a crime on the scene. And so they're a bit confused. And so Scottie Scheffler's thinking, I'm going to get treated just like I always do at a golf course if there's some kind of traffic jam. I'm a golfer, I'm Scottie Scheffler, they're going to let me through. But you got some cop, perhaps, who wasn't scheduled to be there, and all he knows is he's asking the guy, hey, stop. And if he stops for 10 seconds, offers this guy an explanation, they let him roll through like all the other golfers. And trust me, all the other golfers weren't Tiger Woods and Tony Finau. It was a bunch of white golfers that got through this whole process without any problems. Scottie Scheffler didn't. Scottie Scheffler's on my team, on Virgil's team. He's a Christian. He's a believer. Loved him after he won the Masters and celebrated God. But on this instant, I got to say, Scottie, just inconvenience yourself for 10, 15 seconds. There's no issue here, bro.
His white privilege card didn't work this time. Got declined.
Maybe it was overextended.
It was overextended.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I think Scott Scheffler's so used to playing through that he just thought he could just, keep it going off the golf course. But first of all, I have a hard time believing there's not a phone number he could call in situations like this where somebody could outside say, hey, listen, let this guy through. But it's interesting. Is now this our version? Now we could bring this out in situations like this. There's always the, what about Favre, right? Well, now, Jason, can we say, what about Sheffler? Is that our version of what about Favre?
It might be. I may throw out the Scottie Scheffler card from time to time moving forward when any of these situations come up. This myth that somehow the police all just, hey, white people just do whatever you want. Like maybe some of you don't know any white people who can go story for story about their bad engagement with police. It happens. But I know one solution to it anytime. Just kill them with kindness. They will fold. And that's been my experience.
Jason,
no matter how much disrespect, I just kill them with kindness, and then eventually they fold.
Jason, there was that Harvard professor, I think. Didn't he get death threats because he did a study of thousands of cases of police interactions and found out that really was no different?
Roland Fryer, I think.
Yeah, and he got rewarded for it with death threats. But it kind of reminds me of that situation about two separate worlds that exist for white and black America. And I think there is a difference. But I remember when Saturday Night Live decades ago was still funny. They had this one classic skit where Eddie Murphy dressed up and was put up into makeup as a white guy. So he said, okay, what's it like being a white man in America? So he gets on the bus and everyone's nice. As soon as a black guy leaves, everyone has a party. As soon as a black guy gets on, everyone's quiet again. Goes into a store and he tries to pay for something. And the guy behind the counter says, what are you doing? I'm paying for it. He goes, no, take it. Take it. I mean, there are people that actually believe that exists.
Yes, there are. Steve, I want to move on to a topic I think you would enjoy. You're into comedy like me. Shannon Sharpe had on the white comedian Gary Owen, I believe, is his name, and he's quite popular with the community, as you like to say, Steve. And Shannon Sharpe's taking a lot of blowback for this interview, and people are coming up with reasons just to attack Shannon Sharpe time and time again. I want to play just an excerpt of one of the things Gary Owen said that the griot or someone wrote about, and how dare Shannon Sharpe allow this white man to say this. Gary Owen, I think, was previously married to a black woman, has kids with her. I think he's remarried another black woman. He talks on this about his preference for black women. Play the clip.
Were you always attracted to black women?
Always. It's like being gay. Gay guys know they're gay. Why are they gay? They don't know why they're gay. They're just gay.
Right.
Same way. Always liked them from birth.
That clip triggered the griot. Among other things, he said that they're mad because Shannon Sharpe let Gary Owen talk and make jokes and analogies that really only a black comedian is supposed to be allowed to do. And Shannon Sharpe just continues to find himself in the crosshairs. And I think it's an example of like, they're going to bring this dude down out of sheer jealousy. And we're looking at a crab in the barrel example that we talk about all the time. And I can't believe I'm on the other side of it. I've been the biggest Shannon Sharpe critic in the media for what he did on Undisputed, but I've been celebrating him for what he's doing on Club Shay Shay, because I have to admit, it's good, it's great, it's entertaining. He has a sense of humor. I like him and Ocho Cinco on Nightcap, but the community is out to get Shannon Sharpe. Your thoughts?
Now, wait a minute. So Gary is a comedian of note who likes the sisters. So is he the reverse NFL first-round draft choice? It's the white guy that dips into the Hershey. Okay. Well, here's the issue. As I was thinking about this subject, you know what this reminds me of, Jason? The blowback that he's getting. And I mentioned to you a few days ago, I think it's really unfair what's happening to Sharpe. No matter what position he takes, no matter who he brings on, no matter the tone of the interview, he's going to get blowback. Because if you try to please everybody, you please nobody. But what is happening to him and Club Shay Shay reminds me a lot of a show that I'm sure me and you watched hundreds of episodes in the late 80s, probably from about 88 to about 91 at its peak. Arsenio Hall. I'm sure you must have watched it, Jason, as much as I did. Arsenio Hall, for those of you who are a lot younger than us, and I am assuming we do have a younger generation here on Fearless, he was the antidote to The Tonight Show. He was the urban young black version of it, and everybody loved it. It was, all my classmates watched it, but Arsenio Hall was this young, energetic, friendly face that everybody loved, and he was black. Right, the dog pound. And if you look at that audience, there was a mixture of people. It transcended, and it did very good ratings for about 3-4 years. It was the hot show. He'd bring on NWA. He'd bring on Public Enemy. MC Hammer brought all of Oakland. They did a set one time. I mean, look, MC Hammer went broke because of his entourage, and it was worth it. They did Let's Get It Started. It was unbelievable. He would bring on acts that no one else would. A lot of hip-hop acts, a lot of R&B. Used to bring on boxers all the time, and it was a great show, and it was funny. However, there came a point, and I think the point was when he brought on the Minister Louis Farrakhan. And at that point, things started to change, that it was too black for certain parts of America, but other parts of America that were black were saying, no, now you're too mainstream. He couldn't win, Jason. So you're either too militant or you're too mainstream. And all Arsenio wants to do is give us an hour of entertainment. And he did that very well. And eventually, I believe the downfall of Arsenio Hall and that fine program, it wasn't the white audience that had a problem with it. They still enjoyed it. It was the other people.
Totally, Virgil. I know you know Gary Owen.
Yeah, Yeah, I like his comedy. He's funny. I think I picked up on him when he was talking about the black church. He had a black girlfriend. He went to the black church, and he didn't know that it was going to be long. And he talked about it. It was really, really funny. The guy's hilarious. I think this is a crabs in a barrel situation with Shannon Sharpe and Club Shay Shay. Shannon has tried to appeal to the black community, and now because he's such a star, everybody wakes up now thinking about how they can take him out. And they're just trying to gain attention, following as a result. And so they're claiming to be upset. This is false. They love Owen when he's making jokes, but when they see it as an opportunity to elevate their platform, now they're taking shots at Shannon. Shannon's just gonna have to grow thick skin and deal with it.
And it's funny. I can't, and I know people are watching this like, Whitlock, what are you doing? You know, because I've questioned some things about Shannon Sharpe, the relationship with the hairdresser or stylist
Right.
that got a lot of sugar in his tank, and
Take him on the court.
and his judgment of, or what does that say that you're traveling around, and again, y'all know how I am about the alphabet mafia and the ritual in Hollywood of, like, if you want to be elevated, you better partner up with the alphabet crew.
Right.
But I got to move all that to the side and just evaluate Shannon Sharpe on what I'm seeing on the show.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing on the show seems authentic. It's the real Shannon Sharpe. And I complained the entire time behind the scenes, just grumbling to friends, not to anybody in any importance, when we worked at Fox Sports, like, look at this Malcolm X stick he's doing.
Right.
It's not authentic. This guy on Club Shay Shay and on Nightcap, I think, is being very authentic. And I'm just sorry, it's very entertaining. And I'm sitting here shocked, like, why can't we enjoy this? Why can't we support what he's doing?
There's an evolution that has taken place, because if you go back, I remembered when you said that, two things. I think it was a while back you had on this show, and you kind of showed some of the shtick that Shannon was involved in, and Shannon Sharpe did, and it was real, trying to be cool and hip and embracing kind of hip hop culture.
Do-rag, the blunts, the Hennessy,
all of that, and then when you look at, because he's had Club Shay Shay for a while. But if you watch where he is now, there's an evolution that has taken place of his ability to properly interview, to come across authentic, to still be him and engage. It's really interesting to watch. If you're a student of kind of that evolution, you see it. You see the difference, and it's marked now. It's a marked difference, and people recognize that if they want to get to that level, the best thing for the griot or organizations like that to do is to say, I hate this, or this white guy said this, or somebody did that, and in order to elevate their platform. That's all this is about.
Steve, I'll give you the final say, and I got one more topic for you.
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, Shannon's going to have to be an armadillo. He's going to have very tough skin and realize you're never going to please everybody. You can't care. I actually looked at that article of the griot and that author, I think her name is Monique Jones. She seems to be one of these people who doesn't realize not everyone's going to have the same worldview as her. She tries to tell blacks and white what to think. And if anyone disagrees, then it becomes, quote, unquote, problematic. She seems to almost have this God complex. Look, the only thing that I would criticize Shannon for in the last couple of months is having Miss Insufferable Amanda Seales. That's the only thing I could really be critical of. But the bottom line is this. Here's the issue. You get this a lot. Like, who is this guy to say anything about this community? I get this a lot because I'm Asian. And, last week or so, I remember I was at Coach JB's house. I was watching the fights. They're playing poker. And I wrote a tweet and I said, during the whole Drake and Kendrick conflict, I said, I find rap beefs nowadays frivolous and silly. Okay. And they're also very dangerous. Didn't put that. And some black guy comes out, this conversation ain't for you. And I said, yeah, it is. It's for anybody. It's pop culture. And he said to me, you need to stay out of it. And I said, I don't need to, but I can stay in it if I want to. I can talk about anything I want. And he said, well, what if I start talking about Asian issues or K-pop? I said, go ahead. I don't follow you. I'll never hear it. I wouldn't take it seriously, just like you don't have to take me seriously. And all I said was, look, you are free to unfollow, or I could block you. It's fine. See, you have to understand one thing. People are going to disagree with you. More and more, I find myself not blocking people on Twitter or social media. I just mute them because to me, it's great. You get to listen to me, and I never get to hear you. It's a complete advantage for me. But this whole notion that somehow you shouldn't talk about something. Look, anyone that wants to talk about the Asian community, go ahead. It is your First Amendment right. It would not bother me because number one, most likely I wouldn't care, which I don't. And number two, I'm never going to listen to you. I don't follow you. But Shannon's got to be tough here and understand that I have a brand. I'm going to do me. And once you start placating the perennially aggrieved, your show quality will suffer. And that's going to be the next test is can you handle the success of your own show?
Since 2007, Folds of Honor has provided life-changing scholarships to the spouses and children of America's fallen or disabled in combat. And in 2023, this was extended to include the families of fallen first responders. They've awarded 51,000 scholarships and more than $200 million so far. And the need is still great, but together, we can make sure no qualified applicant is turned away. Flying Ace has aligned with Folds of Honor to ensure the children of our American heroes receive the education they deserve. As proud supporters of Folds of Honor, Flying Ace has had the privilege of providing hope for the families of those who protect our freedom. To that end, Flying Ace is proudly sponsoring 4 scholarships awarded quarterly this year. Please, if you can donate today and help them make a great impact, go to flyingacespirits.com or scan the QR code on the screen. The link is also in the show notes. When you purchase a bottle of Flying Ace, you will also be donating to the Folds of Honor. Make sure you use my promo code Whitlock and get free shipping on every order. That's flyingacespirits.com, promo code Whitlock. Great point, Steve. Final topic I want to bring up with you, the NFL Accelerator Program. The owners meeting will be here in Nashville, Tennessee next week. They started 4 or 5 years ago with this NFL Accelerator Program where they try to put black coaches in a room with ownership to accelerate their advancement to head coaches. It made news this year because Brian Flores, who's suing the league, is now going to participate in the NFL Accelerator Program. There's a multitude of reasons why I think this is a mistake. All it's going to do, and this is what blows my mind about sports, it's like the tradition of sports has been about people putting their superficial, petty differences aside, coming together to work together in a meritocracy and for one goal. Because the NFL has bought into diversity, equity, inclusion, hey, we got to bend over backwards for this certain segment because they're complaining that they don't get jobs because all these white owners that pay the players, predominantly black, millions upon millions of dollars, they don't want to pay a coach $5 million to be the head coach. It's all a joke. I just think it just sows the seeds of division within football among the coaching fraternity. You can't tell me that white coaches aren't sitting around like, where's my accelerator program? I want to be a head coach too. Why can't we just get out here and grind and go get it the way we always have? I don't like the NFL Accelerator Program, but it's the world they've created.
Yeah, but Jason, I will say this. I would rather see former players of any color get these opportunities if they are deserved more than women getting these highfalutin front office jobs who never played the game of football. I mean, I made this point on Coach JB's show about 4 or 5 months ago before it was official. I said, you know what, if the Raiders are really about diversity, and I know they have this female president, I believe she's black, and in the tradition of Amy Trask, Mark Davis wanted the virtue signal that, right? And I said, okay, if you're all about that, you make Antonio Pierce your coach. You let him lead men as a guy that put in 12 years in the National Football League. You know, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not saying that your point is wrong, but I would much rather see former black players who have put in the time be the leader of men on the sidelines and then eventually work their way up to the front office like an Ozzie Newsome than a bunch of women that have never played the game. You may disagree with that, but that's my feeling.
You're talking my language.
Yeah.
I agree with all of that.
What I do.
This
And I
is
know,
like,
I know.
the Accelerate program. It's like the special ed short bus for coaches. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Like, you couldn't make it for real, so we're going to have a program to help you to get into the room with the right guys. It's silly, and it creates a permanent second-class citizenship as it relates to coaching. It's really foolish.
Steve, final thought. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, speaking of the whole issue of black coaches, Jason and Virgil, I don't know if you know this. Do you know the whole UCLA football staff this year, led by Deshaun Foster, former Bruin great, NFL running? You know the whole staff is black? I find that to be fascinating. I actually think it's a more interesting story than Deion Sanders.
Wow, I did not know that. That is
yes,
interesting.
the whole staff, top to bottom, is black. And I'm thinking, wow, now this is bold. This is putting your money where your mouth is. And look, Deion's Deion. It's a brand. We don't know how long he's going to be there. Foster is a young man out of Tustin, California. I remember his career very well during that Cade McNown era and had a nice NFL career. And they're trying something bold because UCLA is a program that has great tradition, but they have certain limitations based on the budget, what they can do. And now they're working into a big super conference. And look, I like it. Let's see what they can do. I believe that if you really care about the movement of black coaches, it's just 98% of the focus just can't be on the guy in Boulder, Colorado. To me, you need Deshaun Foster and that staff to do great work and then show that, hey, look, this can work, that if you get qualified men of any color, you could advance this particular movement. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you, Steve. Great job. That's it, and that's all from us. I think I hear tomorrow playing. That means we'll see you next week.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free.